Okay, Boker Tov, everyone. Today is the 14th day of Tishrei, Erev Sukkot, and in less than 12 hours, we'll be under the sheltering wings of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's protection. And I guess the sukkah will be a good place to HISBODEDUS too, if you're alone in the sukkah. It's out of the house. Okay, we have a short parak. I want to pick a short parak so we can finish it before Yom Tov. We're going back, if you recall. So now we're going back to chapter 18, which is called Preparing for HISBODEDUS. HISBODEDUS HaRa'uya, what is a proper HISBODEDUS? Shebetchila, in the beginning, lifnei sheposech pi, before you open up your mouth. Yeshev v'yashev daito lifnei mi hu omed umar ros lishaleno. You should sit and again settle your mind for who you are standing and what is it that you want to ask from him. Just like whenever you have any kind of meeting, that should be. Besides the concept of having a settled mind, Rabbi Nosson explains, the proper way is, before you begin to speak and ask anything, you should pause a certain amount of time in silence. And then you will have yearnings to Hashem, and thereby your words of prayer will be accepted before Hashem. Why you want to do this? In the brackets, if you don't do this, if you just start, you sit down and just start talking. It's like you're pushing the envelope, so to speak. In other words, it's like you're coming from a mishkababel place. You're just sitting down and starting to talk. You got to sit down, pause. It's going to explain. Think who you're talking to, what you want to say. So you're speaking with presence of mind. That's how you want to speak to people. You know, we know, for example, why did Moshe know right away that the spies episode was not going to be a good one? Because everybody came running with him. They came running to Moshe, not in a proper decorum. What's going to be? They're all nervous. So you just have to be settled down before you're speaking. And I think that's very true when people speak to you. A child, when they're young, something happened, they come running to you, screaming this and that. So what's the first thing the parent says? Settle down. I can't understand a word you're saying. Just settle down. So that's the same idea. You have to be settled down. V'zeh lashono, and these are the words of Rabbi Nosson. Because this is the true way to anyone who wants to approach Hashem and to come close to him. Now, first of all, you have to have a lot of prayer between yourself and Hashem. But that's hard also, just to start talking to Hashem. You're not going to like this. You got to, at least in the beginning, pause like a mute for an hour. There's an hour before the hour now. But you rather should be yearning from the depths of your heart with a great desire. And to prepare himself for a speech between him and his maker. And he should be anxiously awaiting to look up to see Hashem and speak to him, so that he can bring down to you warm words. And sell yourself well, where you are in the world, as we said in the last chapter, and where have your actions brought you. In other words, before you talk to Hashem, first you have to know who and what and where you are before you start talking to Hashem. In other words, let's say you did a lot of Averis in the last few days. Well, you definitely are going to come to Hashem a lot different than if you did a lot of mitzvahs in the last few days. It's not the same. again, example, and or a wife, okay? The husband or the wife wants to speak to them. But for the last 3 days, the husband's been abusive to the wife, verbally. You just don't come and start talking to the person. Where are you coming from? You've been verbally abusive to me. Now you want to have a sincere talk? You got to preface it with a few words. You got to know, where are you right now vis-a-vis your relationship with Hashem and where you're headed in life. So you're going to know what you're going to be saying to Hashem. See, this is one of the big problems with all this technology, this Instagram and all these things. People just say the first thing that's on their mind, and they're usually stupid things. Even the second thing on their minds are pretty stupid. So there's no such thing as, it's the whole stira to Yiddishkeit, Instagram. What does Instagram mean? Instant. It's an instant telegram. It's almost the opposite. If you recall, well, I don't know if I don't recall, maybe you recall, when they used to make telegrams. Did you ever send a telegram? I don't think so.
I did one.
A long time.
Dating myself.
Right. So now, what did you do? Did you just start dictating the telegram? Are you crazy? Every word cost $5, right? So you mentioned, okay, yeah, how succinctly can I say exactly what I have to say? What's going to get the message in exactly the way it should be? And therefore, you never had misunderstandings. It was clear. Here, whatever I was saying, I didn't know what I was saying, this and that. So what were you saying it for? So the same thing here, just settle yourself down. Know, where are you right now in your life? Are you in a good place, in a bad place, close to Hashem, not close to Hashem? And then you can now have an idea what you want to say. Yes?
Yes, but since every day when we get up in the morning, the first thing we speak to Hashem. So it's not like we are preparing before that. We right away we speak to Hashem.
That's not HISBODEDUS.
We do the brachas, we speak to Hashem.
That's as we said, that's a obligatory prayers that you have no choice.
So we talk to Hashem.
And I understand, but it's not necessarily from your heart.
Why not?
Because things you have to say might not be what's on your heart. Again, we tend to, it becomes an automatic thing. It's a very hard thing, and it's not your words. That's the whole idea of HISBODEDUS. The benefit is it's your words. It's what you want to say. It's what you have on your mind. You could be having a lousy day and you're saying, because that's what you have to say. But it's not what you necessarily want to say. So when do you say what you want to say? That's what HISBODEDUS is about. The prayers, you're like we said, there's certain things. Like we said, the analogy again, when you're in the army, there's something called maneuvers. Maneuvers means we practice the following. We practice how to do this. We practice how to do this. We practice all these things. And you got to do exactly the way the maneuvers are. But then when you're in battle, guess what? Doesn't always work out that way. You were planning on this, then all of a sudden you find out you're ambushed. Well, now you got to do something a little different. Same thing. The prayers are the regular maneuvers. This is the standard things you should be saying. Everybody has to say this to Hashem. Now, what about the uniqueness of your relationship with Hashem? Okay. So again, there's certain things. Yes, if you're a decent husband, in the morning, you wake up and say, "Good morning, dear." Fine. I'm going to the office. See you later. I love you, dear. But that's pretty much standard. Everybody's got to say that.
It shouldn't be standard.
It is standard. But then when you want to sit down and have a heart-to-heart talk, there'll be no two heart-to-heart talks. They'll be the same. This is no, again.
It needs a lot of preparation.
Okay, and most people, again, since you have to do this, right? Most people, if they're lucky, have kavanah to the words they're saying. And again, you're just saying, I want health, I want this and not that. You're not going to major detail. And even if you're going to go a little bit, a couple words, it's not the same as spending an hour on a topic. I mean, it's a serious, Shemona Esrei is not meant to be a serious conversation with Hashem, an in-depth conversation. I'm checking in with you, Hashem. I'm for Shachris, this is what the day is going to bring. I understand all the Shemona Esrei really is saying, I understand the help is from you. I understand the intelligence from you. I understand the parnassus from you. All those things, it's just refocusing you on life. Okay. And yeah, and your request is that you hope you understand that idea. But now when we get to serious issues about the fact that you have poor self-esteem and you don't know where you're going in your Yiddishkeit, or you're upset at Hashem, or you're happy with Hashem and all these things for particularly them, that's not part of tefillah. I mean, it was a long time ago, but not when now it's been a standardized tefillah, and you can't spend an hour on your Amida because everyone's going to be home and the shul will be closed and locked by the time you're finished. So there's two different types of prayer. One is the one we do in the minyan, and that's one you have to do if you like it or not. And you got to say these words. Exactly. You want to add a couple words on your own, that's fine.
You add requests and
but that's just a quickie. It's not an in-depth discussion, right? You know, when you talk to your wife, you make requests. Dear, could you please pick up the laundry for me? Dear, could you please do this? Dear, can I get you something from work? You know, but then they say, dear, we have to have a serious conversation. What about? Well, our whole relationship. I think we should be improving our relationship. Whoa, that's okay. That's not on the fly now. Now we got to sit down, and now we put everything aside and not think about anything else, but talk about that. And that's what HISBODEDUS is doing. Okay, and that's something that needs a lot of thought. With the Amida, again, in the olden days, the early Hasidim spent, and they did it exactly that way.
Mhm.
But we're not on that level, that especially in a shul setting, in a congregational setting, where you got 10 different men who have 10 different focuses in their lives. And many of them don't want to sit in shul for 3 hours for Shacharis. So we've got this standard prayer that we all say. You could make minor adjustments, but the congregation is not going to wait. We're just not on that level. This is something that has to be an individual thing, and it really is an individual thing between you and Hashem. So that's where we're not really doing it. I mean, I think anyone who's honest with themselves knows that. It's not possible with all the words that you're obliged to say. You have some kavanah, but it's not an in-depth discussion that's pouring your heart before Hashem.
So this doesn't occur every day, like this.
Again, according to Rabbi Nachman, you do it every day.
Well, okay.
That's what we're saying. You do it every day.
Rabbi, the Shemona Esrei, if you
How long
use
are
the
you on
word,
the internet every day? People are hours on the internet. So instead of being on the internet, be on the real internet.
That's not quite the same. I mean, wait.
Well, which one's more important?
Hashem, of course.
So
that's
why
what-
isn't there more time for that?
But seriously, you just say
Yeah,
the regular prayers we do in shul, we add prayers, we add our own requests.
That's
we
a,
are
that's a very
speaking to
quick.
to
You say,
myself.
okay, I want this person to feel better. Shkoyach. I should get a good return
Well,
on my
that's
investment.
important.
But that's very quick, easy, and out. It's not coming from inside your
That's
heart.
why I say that doesn't happen every day then.
Every day you should be pouring your heart to Hashem. Every day, every day, every day. There's what to say. This is, if listen, the guys are doing this every day that we're studying this. So that's why you're finding it challenging. Okay. So, but that is what he's saying. And for his students, he's saying it should be an hour every day with an hour of preparation. Now, of course, we've already learned that not everybody can do an hour.
Of course.
And okay, let's try 5 minutes. Start with 5 minutes. You'll see how hard it is.
It takes 5 minutes to clear your
Just
mind.
try it.
Takes 5 minutes to clear your mind.
Clear your mind from all the mishigasim from all the day. And that's what he's saying. Okay, let's continue. Umam Sheklavar, he continues, Rabbi Yossi continues, Shabismana Zesh, at this time where you are pausing, Yas Lachshov Kama Zokakula Rakmashem, should be thinking how much you need God's mercy. Really think about it for a while. I don't have time during the Amida to think about that. That you're still very far away from Hashem. Again, this is what we're talking about. You have to really think and meditate. Like, where are you holding it? And being very honest with oneself. Most people, the Yetzaharas tend to tell them, I'm great. I'm a good Jew. There's very little I have to improve on. Because we don't stop and really think and go deep into what's going on over there. and to realize the distance between us and Hashem is very great. And therefore, we have to start thinking about that and how much kindness you have to come on to him. And that's what he quotes now, the rest of Rabbi Nosson over here. Let's make it a little bit bigger. So Rabbi Nosson continues, you have to be very careful. But even though you think you're very far away, shouldn't let these thoughts cause you into despair. You also have to strengthen yourself with your good points. And also, and also the merit of the righteous, true righteous ones, that through their advice and their guidance, we rely on fulfilling their advice, which is atzas HISBODEDUS, the advice of HISBODEDUS. The great tzaddikim all did HISBODEDUS. And we already explained this at length. Even the Chafetz Chaim, everybody, doesn't matter Hasidish or not, did HISBODEDUS. And therefore, if it's important, even though you're saying things that are a little bit rough, they will intercede favorably for you. And primarily, they'll intercede to bring Hashem's mercy on you, which is infinite. He hears everybody's prayers. When he saves all who really put their trust in him. And that's why a sukkah is a great place for this, because you could start talking about the things we talked about on Shabbos, that the sukkah talks about how Hashem protects you and to thank Hashem for all the protection. All those things you could do perfect HISBODEDUS in a sukkah by yourself, be amazing. V'yamod lifnei Hashem koni, and you stand before Hashem like a pauper, kidal varash, very poor person. And don't assume you have all these merits and good deeds and it's coming to you, but rather rak b'ches Hashem, you're coming to understand that Hashem is doing complete kindness. And he's all merciful and long with patience and abundant of kindness. Think about those attributes of Hashem. And that will arouse Hashem's mercy for you. And what's the real mercy? And you'll say words that Hashem will send into your mouth. Until you'll merit to have warm fire words come out of you. As we said before, the real you is deep inside your neshama. The real you is wanting to scream out to Hashem and really tell Hashem how close you are and how warm your feelings are to him. But we got so much garbage on top of that. And we need Hashem to help us bring out that which is inside of us. And we will say, wow, I never realized I had such feelings like that before. You need a lot of mercy from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So you can't just jump in and just say, oh, I'm just going to start talking to Hashem. To the degree that you're yearning for Hashem, and you'll merit to have an arousal and an enthusiastic words, as it says in Shir HaShirim, that the words are like hot, fiery coals to Hashem. Or it says as well, Ki aza kamavas ava. My love is so strong, it's almost like to die for the person. So my life is going out. And that's how you merit rishpeh shalavas Hashem, like fiery coals of flame to Hashem. These are all the words of Rabbi Nosson. So therefore, for such type of a talk, therefore you have to dedicate some time. You have to know that's part of the time of HISBODEDUS. HISBODEDUS requires a mind-settling time that you really are appreciating what you're coming to. Now, the source of all this, what Rabbi Nosson says, and the Makor L'Lashon Shel Moreinu Rabbi Nosson, the source of Lisho Shachas, to wait an hour, he gets those words from the Sichos Aram from Rabbi Nachman, such as, Sipra li ha'ish, a person told me, Sh'Rabbeinu Tzivulu, that Rabbi Nachman told him, Shi'alo HISBODEDUS, he should have 2 hours of HISBODEDUS. 1 hour to arouse himself, to yearn and arrange himself before Hashem, and then to speak for an hour. Okay? Remember, we said it's not hard. It's not hard. When people talk to their friends, they have, as they say, BS sessions for hours and hours and don't tire for a minute to talk. Nobody can say that I can't talk for hours to a person. You can, but you just have to refocus that to Hashem. That's what Rabbi Nachman tells us. Hanagazu, if you can do that behavior, that's the ideal. To set aside an hour to prepare for this post. Okay, obviously, the author here says, what you need to know. So not everybody can do this. Even though that which Rabbi Nachman says, you should have an hour of delay before these photos, and then port your heart before Hashem, as it says in Likutei Moharan. Yes, you have to know that is what his initial, optimal is. Okay, which direction am I going in now? Okay, and this is what Rabbi Nachman says. Omar, really, he'd love the whole day would be his photos. Well, Avalos coming and said the whole day should be spent on this. So Rabbi Nachman even says, not everybody can do that. Okay, but it says but the least have 1 hour his photos. He comes with them. That's also good. Someone who's really strong. And he really wants to accept the yoke of Hashem's service. Really? He'd like every day to be spotus. And that's what it says in the Gemara. A person would daven a whole day long. Because that's what Olam Haba is going to be, my friends. What do you think Olam Haba is going to be? You're going to have a tennis game in the morning, eat breakfast afterwards, or none of that. You're just going to be with Hashem. Did you ever think about that? You're going to be bored to death. You're going to be bored to death. What am I going to do now? There's nothing, no action happening. So you got to prepare. You got to prepare for this. Listen, the goyim, there are goyim who know how to do this. Not to Hashem. They meditate for hours, and they're so happy. Okay, they're meditating to Gunish, but here it's mamish with Hashem. And that's what Rabbi Nachman also says in another essay. One time he was speaking with us, we have marvel dabar us being in Malos Hisbodedus, who speaks about the virtues of Hisbodedus. You're speaking a lot about how virtuous it is. And he says, it's impossible to expect people to do this more than an hour a day. That's what Rabbi Nachman says. I can't make it any harder for them. It really should be a whole day of Hisbodedus. A whole day should be Hisbodedus. But, okay, we're not on that level, so an hour. That's what Rabbi Nachman says. Okay, therefore, even though he's saying really should be an hour of preparation and then an hour of Hisbodedus, so even if you're only down to an hour, so if you only dedicate 1 hour, at least spend part of that hour to prepare yourself to be before Hashem. To have the yearnings and longings, to prepare yourself to pour your heart. To get a presence of mind, where is in the world, to have a presence of mind, that there should be mercy on his soul, and strengthen himself on these points in the merit of the tzaddikim, and to look up to Hashem and depend on his mercy that is never ending. Okay, so therefore, Bisman said at this time, when you're doing the preparations, you should ask from the depths of your heart, as we say before Shemona Esrei, Hashem society, Hashem, open up my lips and I will say your praises. Give me words from your holy repose in heaven, so I can say words of appeasement to you. To praise you, to pour everything that's inside me before you. In other words, he's coming and saying, Hashem, I need help in this. I don't know how to do this. And I want you to realize how impoverished I am emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. And I'm begging you to help me be able to say the right words to you. That's you have to start before you do anything. Rabbi Noah says you shouldn't start by saying it, but wait until Hashem brings you words. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that when you come to start to speak to Hashem, not to have any agenda. Doesn't mean say, well, I'm just going to come. I don't know what I'm going to say. And Hashem, you just plunk the words in my head. No. You have no idea what the topic of discussion is going to be with Hashem. No, you have to come in with some agenda. Because Rabbi Nachman said, let's say you take a certain meter you're having trouble with. What meter are you having trouble with? Too lazy, too angry, too judgmental. Everyone's got a meter they're working on. So you could say, listen, I want to talk about this meter. I want to talk about my problem. Okay? Whatever the meter problem is. Now that you don't talk about during the Shemona Esrei. You talk about your bad mitos. You say, how come I can't, whatever it is. How come I can't stay away from seeing things I shouldn't be looking at? How come I can't waste my time surfing the internet for 2 hours a day? Whatever it is, whatever the meter is, you come with an agenda. Well, you don't know the exact words. That's what you want to purify yourself in that area. It takes a long time. Take any meter you need to work on. You can talk about it every day to Hashem. Okay, I got to talk about my anger. I think I'm better than everybody else in the world. I'm a big ball guy. Okay, so at the end of the day, let's go over to how many times did I think I was better than that guy? How did I talk to people? How did I come off as pompous? Hashem, I don't want to be this way. But look, I did it 10, 12, 15 times today. I know that I'm not going to get close to you if I do that. And I know I have no great merits that I should feel this way. And you'll see Hashem will just start pulling, the words will start coming out of you like crazy. This is not done in the Amida. Amida is not the time for Midos development. There's all kind, and this affects your relationship with Hashem. So you have to come with an agenda every time. Because Hashem, it's all kinds of different people. Certain people, why am I so afraid of the coronavirus? I don't know. Hashem, it's crazy. Or a person saying, why am I not careful with the coronavirus? Why am I taking too many risks that are not? Whatever it is, speak on your mind. Hashem, when is this going to stop? How is my avodas Hashem being challenged? Whatever. Similarly, Rabbi said, Hashem im Torah u'maimers, man shel kam v'chasi. You take a Torah, one of the Rebbe's Torahs, and it's an idea of Jewish understanding, and you live with it for a couple months. You learned a certain Torah from Rabbi Nachman about midos, about avodas Hashem, and these are things that stretch us to another level. And we got, for example, his most famous one is Azamri. You have to always look for the good in other people. It's one of his famous teachings. We tend to write people off. Hey, he's a Russia. He's a nothing. He's a gorgeous. And Rabbi Nachman said, you have to find that good place in that person, even in yourself. And you have to go over that and say, it's hard for me to do this. So now you got to start talking, and you got till you accomplish it. And it's all with Hashem's help. That's what he's praying for. The Torah we learn, how much of the Torah we learn we do not assimilate into our realities? Bitachon. Can everyone say, I have 100% assimilated the complete concept of bitachon? No. So work on it. Hashem, I need help with my bitachon. Go over. Chovas Avos gives us 8 steps to understand about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's all powerful. He cares about us. He keeps saying these things and saying to Hashem, I need help in this. He has to pray for that point that affects him. Ba'osazman at that time. That's what you have to do. You have to come in prepared. So what does it mean? What does he mean you don't come in with a text? Exactly what words you're going to say. You don't have a prepared text. Or what am I going to say? Okay, I'm going to make a speech to Hashem. I'm going to write down my speech. I'm going to think for days and days and have a 3-page speech. That you don't do. You say, this is the issue. These are my challenges. I know where I should be, and I'm not over there. And I know these are my struggles. Now I'm going to just start talking Hashem. And you pray to Hashem. He puts in the right words that are really inside of you, that will guide you through Hashem's messaging that he's given you. And that's what, so you have to always, just like when you're speaking to people, it's no different. A lot of times before you speak to a person, sometimes when I know that I have a very, what's the word, dicey discussion to have with somebody. the person is criticizing me about something. And I think the person is totally wrong, but the person I know won't be able to hear what I have to say. So I have to know how I'm going to say it. And I got to say, I have to say it in a way that I'm not condescending and this. And I have to think 10 times over what I have to do and what the goals of the conversation are. And the goal is not that I should win and he should lose, but the goal is we should both win and we should both understand and all those things. You got to come prepared for a discussion. You can't just pop off the first things in your mouth. That's why people are having all kinds of problems with relationships nowadays.
Come up to you instantly. What are you how are you going to prepare?
No, when
Because somebody comes to you and tells you.
someone
something.
sends you an email and gets you upset.
Oh, okay.
Do you know how many times I write an email, I erase it, I write it again, I erase it, I write it again, and then I don't even send it.
Yeah, okay. But I
And
can
then
have-
after 3 or 4 days, when I settle down, and I have 3 or 4 people look at my email to make sure that it's proper, then I send it. How many people do that nowadays? They just send right away, boom, 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 and all of a sudden no one's talking to anybody. So that's got to be prepared. Okay, shkoyach, have a good
Ah,
Erev Yom Tov, everybody.
yeah.